Okay, Miles. Grandma just came in from working in the garden. Our leaves are starting to come out in Michigan. So, anyway, this is the book. This book is called The Lorax. Lorax, Lorax. And it's by Dr. Suess, and he's the one who makes all those really funny trees. Look at this, it's a funny tree. And he has funny people. I love his pictures. The Lorax. Look at, there's a guy right up in the tree. At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. The street of the lifted Lorax. You can see there's lights on. But the trees don't look good, do they? And it's all dark. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old one slur still lives there. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock on his door. He stays in his lurkum on top of his store. I see eyes. He lurks in his lurkum, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. Cool looking house. Upstairs, upstairs, upstairs. The Onceler. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great, great, great grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snuv, his secret strange hole in his grooveless grove. He's putting it in here. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Schlup. Down schlups the whisper my phone. Whisper my phone to your ear, and the old Onceler whispers not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had a smallish bees up his nose. What if somebody whispered and it sounds like they have bees in their nose? Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of the swoomy swans rang out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place, and I saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored ruffs, the great colored tufts on the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. One thing that's hard for Grandma sometimes with Dr. Suess books is he makes up words. So I try. And after the trees, I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloots suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. Brown barbaloots. They look like they're having fun. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. I'd like to see a fish hum. But those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I had been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. Butterflies and milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I loaded my cart. He's putting some things out, it looks like. In no time at all, I had built a small shop, and then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. Always using the fussy parts to make a knitted thing. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump, and I looked and I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? It's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I am asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs." He was very upset as he shouted and he puffed, "What's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft?" He's not happy. "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed is a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you're crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed." But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute, a chap came along. And he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax, "You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy." It's not much money. "I repeat," said the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, I built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called my brothers and uncles and aunts and said, "Listen here, there's a wonderful chance for the old Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as beads, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Oh, look at all these. Onceler in Chief, Private, thneeds. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I am the Lorax, who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go around. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. Their tummy hurts. They don't have enough to eat. They loved being here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. Aww. Needs. Oh, look at it. It's putting out pollution, too. You need a need. North, west, south, east. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger. So bigger I got. I biggered my factory. I biggered my roads. I biggered my wagons. I biggered the loads of the needs that I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more needs, and I biggered my money, which everybody needs. Then, again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax. He coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled. He gargled and he sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a cruffulous croak. Onceler, you're making such a smogulous smoke. My poor swans, why they can't sing a note? They don't feel good. My poor swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. When the air's bad, it hurts our throats and our noses and our lungs. And so, said Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you smogged up around here. If the air's no good, they have to leave. What's more, snapped the Lorax. His dander was up. Let me say a few words about the gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup, also schluppity-schlup. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. Looks like there's yellow goop and green goop. What are they doing? Oh no. Once you're glumping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. Oh. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring and biggerin'. And biggerin' and biggerin' and biggerin', turning more truffula trees into needs, which everyone needs. Look at all the stumps. At that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree, and then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. Now what? Last one. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. There's Lorax right there. Where is he? Oh, maybe up there. All the cousins and uncles went away. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backward glance. So he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. I'll never forget the grim look in his face when he heisted himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was a long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat there and worried away through the years while my buildings have fallen apart. I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now you're here. The word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. He's standing right by the unless. So, catch, calls the Onceler, and he lets something fall. It's a truffula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds. And truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water, feed it fresh air, grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. Oh my, and that's the end. We have to take care of our world. We only have one. What's next?